Imagine losing something important today, maybe an opportunity, a valuable object, or even a relationship. How would you feel? Sad, frustrated, maybe even desperate? Now, imagine a Zen monk in the same situation. He smiles calmly and continues his day as if nothing happened. How is that possible? Does he not feel pain or sadness? The truth is, he does. But there is something he knows, something that can completely change the way we see life and free us from the emotional roller coaster that often controls us. Today, we will explore a profound Buddhist story that teaches how to be happy regardless of the circumstances. No matter if you are facing challenges, losses, or moments of uncertainty, true happiness does not depend on what happens around you, but on how you perceive life. Stay until the end, because I will share a simple yet powerful practice that can transform the way you handle any situation. Before we begin, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories and teachings that bring peace and wisdom into your daily life. Now, take a deep breath and let's embark on this journey together. The illusion of control. From a young age, we are taught to believe that if we do everything right, life will go as planned. If we work hard, we will succeed. If we treat others with kindness, they will treat us the same way. If we plan well, we can avoid problems. But reality is different. Have you ever noticed that even when you do everything right, things still go wrong? You plan a perfect day, but something unexpected happens. You invest time and effort in a relationship, but the other person leaves. You dedicate yourself to your work, but you don't receive the recognition you expected. This frustration comes from the illusion of control. We believe we can control everything around us, but the truth is that the world follows its own flow. The Buddha taught that suffering comes from attachment, and one of the biggest attachments we have is the desire for things to go our way. When reality does not match our expectations, we feel unhappy. But what if there was another way to live? What if, instead of trying to control the world, we learned to flow with it? Let me share a story about a monk who mastered this art and how you can apply it to your own life. The story of the wise monk. In a small village, there was a monk known for his unshakable serenity. He lived in a simple temple, and no matter what happened, he never showed anger or despair. One day, a curious young man decided to test him. He approached the monk and said, "Master, I want to see if you are truly unshakable." Then the young man began to insult the monk, saying harsh and provocative words. But the monk simply smiled, as if he were listening to the wind pass by. Irritated by the lack of reaction, the young man asked, "Why don't you respond? Aren't you angry?" The monk looked at him kindly and said, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The young man thought for a moment and replied, "To the one who tried to give it." The monk nodded and concluded, "The same is true for insults and hardships. If I do not accept them, they still belong to the person who brought them." The young man fell silent, realizing the depth of the lesson. He understood that the monk's happiness did not depend on what others did or said, but on how he chose to respond. This story teaches us a powerful principle. We cannot control what happens around us, but we can control how we respond. Now, let's explore why we seek happiness in the external world and how this keeps us trapped in suffering. Happiness is not in the external world. Why does happiness fade so quickly when we achieve something we desire? Have you ever noticed this? We buy a new phone, and within days, it no longer excites us. We enter a relationship, and after some time, we start noticing flaws in the other person. We achieve a goal and soon feel the need to chase something else. This happens because our minds have been trained to seek happiness in external things, objects, people, achievements. But the problem is that all of these are impermanent. The Buddha compared this pursuit to trying to quench thirst by drinking seawater. The more we drink, the thirstier we become. The more we seek happiness in the external world, the emptier we feel. So, where is true happiness? Imagine a still lake. When the water is disturbed, we cannot see our reflection. But when it is calm, everything becomes clear. The same is true for our minds. When we stop chasing external validation and look inward, we find the peace that has always been there. Happiness is not something we find out there. It is something we discover within ourselves. Next, we'll talk about acceptance, the key to finding this inner peace no matter what happens around you. Acceptance, the key to peace. The greatest source of human suffering is not pain itself, but our resistance to pain. Imagine you are holding a rope. If someone pulls on it, you feel pain only if you resist and try to hold on tightly. If you simply let go, the pain disappears. The same is true in life. When something happens that we don't like, a loss, a change, a challenge, our first reaction is to resist. We think, this shouldn't be happening. This isn't fair. This resistance creates tension, anxiety, and suffering. But what if, instead of resisting, we learned to accept? Acceptance does not mean giving up or being passive. It simply means stopping the fight against reality. Accepting means looking at a difficult situation and saying, this is what is happening right now. How can I deal with it in the best way possible? Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh once said, we suffer because we want things to be permanent, but everything is always changing. When we accept that life is impermanent, that challenges are part of the journey, and that we do not control everything, we find deep peace. Now, let's talk about the power of the present moment and how it can free us from anxiety and sadness. Mindfulness, finding joy in the present moment. If we take a moment to observe, we'll realize that our mind is rarely in the now. It constantly drifts between the past and the future, replaying regrets, reliving pain, or worrying about things that haven't even happened yet. This endless stream of thoughts robs us of the only thing we truly have, the present moment. The Buddha compared the restless mind to a monkey jumping from branch to branch, never resting. This mental chaos keeps us from experiencing true happiness. But there is a way out, the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness means being fully present in the now without judgment. Try this right now. Take a deep breath feel the air moving in and out of your lungs. Notice the sounds around you. Observe any thoughts that arise without clinging to them. By doing this, you bring your mind back to the present. And in the present, there is no anxiety or suffering, only the pure experience of now. Happiness is not somewhere in the future. It exists in this very moment if we learn to truly live it. Next, we'll explore how to deal with difficult emotions without being consumed by them. Detach, don't suppress. Many people believe that following a spiritual path means avoiding negative emotions, but that's not true. The problem isn't feeling anger, fear, or sadness. The problem is holding on to these emotions and letting them control our actions. Think of your emotions like clouds in the sky. Some are light and fluffy, while others are dark and stormy. But no matter their shape or color, the sky itself remains vast, calm, and unchanged. The mistake we often make is trying to fight our emotions, push them away, or pretend they don't exist. But Buddhism teaches something different. Don't resist, just observe. When a negative emotion arises, try this exercise. Acknowledge. Say to yourself, I'm feeling angry, or I'm feeling sad. Simply naming the emotion reduces its power. Accept. Don't try to push it away. Allow it to exist, like a wave that rises and falls. Observe. Where do you feel this emotion in your body? Is it in your chest, throat, stomach? Just notice it, without trying to change anything. Let go. Just like clouds pass through the sky, emotions also pass. They do not define who you are. The key is not to suppress or cling to emotions, but to allow them to come and go like temporary visitors. Now, I'll share a daily practice that can help you cultivate happiness that doesn't depend on anything external. A practical way to cultivate inner happiness. True happiness doesn't happen by chance. It is cultivated like a garden that needs daily care. One of the most powerful Buddhist practices for developing inner peace is conscious gratitude. Our minds often focus on what's wrong, what's missing, or what could be better. But when we train ourselves to see what we already have, we realize that happiness is not in the future. It's here, now. Try this simple exercise every night before bed. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Think of 3 things you're grateful for. They can be small, like the taste of your morning coffee, or bigger, like a meaningful friendship. Feel that gratitude in your body. Notice how it warms your heart and calms your mind. This small habit can completely transform the way you see life. Over time, you'll realize that happiness doesn't depend on external circumstances. It depends on how you choose to see the world. The peace and joy you seek are already within you. You just need to wake up to them. The happiness we seek is not in the future, nor does it depend on circumstances. It is already within us, waiting to be awakened. We've learned that the illusion of control causes suffering, that chasing happiness in external things keeps us trapped in dissatisfaction, and that acceptance is the key to finding peace in any situation. We've discovered that mindfulness anchors us in the present, that we can navigate emotions without being ruled by them, and that conscious gratitude transforms our perspective on life. Now, I have an invitation for you. For the next 7 days, practice gratitude daily. Before going to bed, find 3 things you're grateful for. That's it. Notice how your mindset shifts and how happiness begins to arise effortlessly. If this message resonated with you, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more teachings that bring peace and wisdom. And share this video with someone who needs this message today. Remember, the peace you seek is already within you. Just be still, breathe, and notice. Thank you for being here. See you in the next video.